bass, and this is going to be a quick lesson on the very basics of playing slap bass. I get a lot of students who ask me about it, and it's not something that I do a ton of anymore. Did a lot in the late 80s, but nowadays not so much, but still a fun thing to do and to teach people how to do. So the main concept is you're going to be using your thumb, and I use my first two fingers of my right hand almost exclusively. So I'm going to cover using those, and if you want to go beyond, like guys like Victor Wooten and Marcus Miller and stuff have done, you are more than welcome to apply all these techniques to all of your fingers and toes if you so desire. So how to use the thumb properly is going to be based on your body type, first of all. So there's no right angle or no correct angle to use for your thumb other than an angle that allows you to hit only one string at a time. So depending on how your arms and hands and bass are built, you're going to have to angle your thumb somehow to get it out of the way of the other strings when you're trying to hit one string. The act of hitting the string is done by, it's basically a wrist motion, and I'm striking straight down on the string so that it makes contact with the fretboard, and I'm immediately rebounding. So that's on my low B string. Here's my E string. And it's important that you immediately rebound, because if you don't, you get this. So you don't want that unless you, well, unless you really want that. But normally you're going to want to rebound immediately after you hit the string. I mean, I don't even know if the camera can really pick up what's going on here, but I'm, hitting the string immediately, and as soon as I'm hitting it, it's lifting up. And you'll want to get used to doing that on all the strings on your bass, whether it be 5 or 6 or 15 or even something crazy like 4. So moving through all your strings, notice that I'm lifting my hand up to allow the note out and then muting it immediately. That's pretty typical. Using your left hand to mute is a pretty important concept, whether you're playing slap or not. But that allows the notes to stay under control there. So get a good slap tone first, and then try your pop tone. The pop is done by lifting the string up and releasing it so that it makes contact with the fretboard. So the fretboard's a big deal in slapping and popping, and generally where I slap is right at the joint where the body meets the neck, at the end of the neck, basically. My 24th fret in this case. If you slap elsewhere, if you go up higher, you get a deeper throatier tone. If you go down lower, you get a twangier tone. Just like if you played normally over different parts of the bass. Normally when I'm playing with my fingers, I'm playing more down over the pickups. When I'm playing slap and pop, I'm using the fretboard under my thumb, because it kind of reacts to the to being hit and tends to sustain longer than if I hit it down there. I don't know, for whatever reason. Well, that's a harmonic. I'm getting an artificial harmonic there, but I get a lot of sustain from hitting right at where the fretboard meets. Now, if I did it up higher, I'd get it too, but I get kind of a less punchy, a less defined tone up there. So popping, like I mentioned, I generally do it with just these two fingers. Some guys actually pop with their thumb, lifting their thumb up, and will use the other two fingers as well. If you want to be a master of slap and pop bass, I would recommend learning those techniques. So the putting them together, in a lot of cases you can learn how to do, well, I will show you how to do octaves. octaves are the same note in two different registers on the bass. And what we're talking about right now is a 1 octave distance. So it's the same note. Here's a G down here. Here's a G up here. Any distance, anytime you go from a, say from your E or your A string, because most of you are probably going to have 4 strings out there. If you start from your E or your A string, you go up 2 frets and go over 2 strings, that's going to be an octave. So right here's my low G, up 2 frets, across 2 strings, we get an octave. And octaves are used all the time in slap bass. So we got, what I'm doing right now is just back and forth, making sure that my thumb is playing a clean note and my middle finger is playing a clean note. You could use your pointer finger, no big deal. You could use your ring finger or your... Now I'm using my pinky. I can't get a consistent tone because I never use it, but you know, there's nothing wrong with using it. And you can then move around finding different octaves. If you get comfortable with that, you actually kind of will sound like you know what you're doing. And then, you know, of course you can slap and pop any note on the bass. It doesn't have to be in an octave, but a lot of bass lines are built around that octave pattern, so that's really good to know there. So hopefully that was helpful, and you've got the basics now of how to use your thumb, how to use your fingers to pop properly, and the concept of octaves. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'm Nick Weiss.